My name is Mark Jeske, and between Ron Jones and me, we hatched the idea for this 4.5 years ago, sitting in the conference room at Siebert. And I'm going to introduce and tell you more about Ron in just a minute. I am the grandpa pastor, the senior pastor at St. Marcus Lutheran here in Milwaukee on North Avenue, and also the speaker now for Time of Grace Television. So I'm mostly out of congregational life, mostly now in media, but mighty passionate still about revitalization of congregations. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't agree with me that the Lutheran Church, regardless of denomination, has some serious areas of decline and erosion in our ministries and congregations. And yet there are amazing signs and stories of hope and new things going on. There are two powerful reasons why Ron and I were led to launch this 4 years ago, and we were so afraid at first. It was a stealth conference only, Ron. It was invitation only. We were afraid of being punished, and we had such a good time, we outed ourselves the second year, and here we are with number 4. And in fact, I'm so thrilled we had to actually turn some people away because we had maxed out what we could comfortably handle in this room. There are two powerful reasons why we wanted to get you together. The first is that denominations just being what they are, human nature being what it is, organizations and bureaucracies and being what they are, find it hard to hold up, reward, and empower entrepreneurial people. That has never been any different in the history of God's people, has it? The Joshuas and the Calebs are not believed right away. In fact, they're even punished. And the people who are afraid of change find reasons to marginalize people like that. And I expect nothing different. In fact, I'm sure that I contributed my own dysfunctions to that in my earlier years, where I too was a stand with the herd, stay with the herd where it's safe. But we can't do that. What we need to do is see who has figured out a way to grow things in a world that has changed so much for our Lutheran world. Our organizations, all of them, regardless of which tribe you come from, if you're ELCA or Missouri or Wells or something else, Lutheranism in America was built on two powerful drivers. One was immigration of people who were already Lutheran, and the second is large families. Both of those have ceased to be demographic drivers for us. And unless we find a plan C, we are trapped in institutional decline. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. There are people here, 6 individuals that we've invited who have found a way to grow some exciting things. And it is my hope that their entrepreneurial spirit will inject some entrepreneurial DNA in you and give you permission to think outside of the ruts you might be in, to dare and try some things, not to give up. One of the questions I've challenged each of them with to think about is Lutheranism a spent force? Is its time, did it do its thing for God? And now here in America, it's like it's over and we're now in a long tailing off of our significance. Or are we at the edge of some new and amazing new growth and some new ideas of ways to connect the saving gospel of Christ with people? So that's goal number 1, is to identify entrepreneurs who are rocking the world and growing something and telling their stories to stimulate your imagination and give you some ideas. The second thing is that as long as I have been serving as a pastor here in Milwaukee, I have never seen any venues that successfully brought people of the various Lutheran tribes together where, without necessarily getting into doctrinal arguments and ideology, we're in a climate of mutual respect and curiosity and affirming one another. We could listen and learn from each other, make some friends, learn some things of somebody outside your own tribe who's doing something interesting and significant. And it might perhaps just temper our rhetoric a little bit to be a little more careful of judgments we make about people who live in a place on the other side of the fence. That's why we're here today, and I hope that you enjoy the 6 speakers that we brought. They are some superstars in the Lutheran world. I want you, if you don't know them already, I want you to meet the president of the Siebert Foundation, Ron Jones.
I'm the short one here, you know, at this. I want you all to just feel warmly welcomed here today and glad that you could be here. This all started, really, in 1954 in December when Mr. Siebert wrote his first check of $5,000 out of the Milwaukee Electric Tool Corporation to his board of directors and said, I want to form a foundation, and that was the day they started. It was December 1954. $5,000 began this whole thing. And I've been at the Siebert Foundation for 20 years. We've given away about $150 million in that period of time, and they had given away $50 million prior to my coming there in 1993. So almost $200 million has been somehow put back into this community. I too, though, want to be very brief and thanking you all for coming again today. Mark Jeske for being our host, and we couldn't find somebody better than Mark with his humor and his just ability to generate the warmth that we can in a room. Danielle and her husband, or not husband, brother Chad, for really taking care of all the infrastructure that we have here. And then way in the back, they're out in the hallway. Diane and Deb, they're waving at us back there. They were looking for all the cracks in the road that needed to be filled in, so that made this all come together. And Diane and Deb both have answered your questions and taken care of maybe, what you think are little things, or maybe we think of them as little things, but that's what gets you here today. So thank you for that. And we have some great speakers today. Board members from Siebert that are here. I did see Dick Barco. Dick Barco, where are you? You're here someplace. Right there he is. And what about Dave Ramoser? Is Dave here in the room? I don't see Dave here yet. I thought he was going to be here. John Zimdars? There's John. He's in the back there. And there'll be some other board members that'll probably join us a little later on. These days are busy, and so they get here when they can. And these tables, I know, are spoken for up here, and those are folks too who are still trying to break away from their busy activity of the day. We have 6 great speakers, and can't say enough about these fellas, and I'm not going to say much about them at all. I'm just going to say to you that I pray that we have a very special, thought-provoking day, and that each of us leave here knowing a name and a new friend, and that's really our goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron.